Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I hope that you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a set of images and some B-roll that I shot the first week of January. But before we get into today's segments, I want to take a moment to talk to you a little bit and kind of share with you a couple of things in regards to this channel. When I started this channel, I started it because I felt that I had value and I still feel that I have value to offer. You know, as a photographer, I've had to learn a lot of things on my own without really any guidance or very limited guidance. And so I just felt that there were a lot of things that people were not willing to share. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to share everything that I learned so that people out there who are going through what I've been going through or even what I'm going through now can you know, benefit from that. And so my intention was to offer value. But when I started this channel, I did not expect to receive value. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you, not just those of you who have subscribed, because that's amazing. Even during this time when I'm not posting fresh content, it's all pre-recorded content. The subscriptions are going up, and so thank you so much for that. But I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all of you who engage, and all of you who leave comments, and a lot of you have been leaving some very supportive and positive comments, you know, asking questions. When you ask questions about the video, or you ask questions about whether it's the gear that I'm using or the technique that I'm using, or you share with me what you are struggling with or what you would like help with, I find that very encouraging. Currently at this time, there are areas in my life that are kicking my ass a little bit, and so due to those situations, sometimes my motivation to make these videos dwindles a little bit, and not my commitment, but my motivation, which I think are two different things. And so when you leave comments like that, it really kind of just reminds me why I started this channel, and it gives me that extra push to put the next video out. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of the amazing people who are commenting, not just here from the US, but people in Canada, people in France, people in Italy, in Finland, that's amazing, Sweden, and I believe there's a couple of people also from Indonesia. If I missed anybody or anybody's country, I apologize. Leave it in the comments below, and I will give your country a shout out in the next video. So anyways, thank you so much for that. And for all of you who have been making requests in regards to certain videos, just want to let you know that I haven't forgotten about you and that I'm working on all of those videos as we speak, okay? All right, that being said, today's episode is an episode that I recorded back in January. I had just purchased the Xf10 and I hadn't tested it out yet, and it was a Saturday night, and I figured, you know what? Why not just take it out and try the autofocus in low light and see what that's like. I took it to Chinatown, and then I went to Hollywood, and then I went to LACMA. And I also took the X100 with me because at the time that was the camera that I was shooting with the most. And so the scene that I'm going to share with you now is from that evening. My first stop was Chinatown. I remember getting there and expecting for there to be a lot more people, and it was completely empty, and it was a very eerie feeling, very like post-apocalyptic. And little did I know at that time that a few months later it would be like that, not only at night but also in the daytime. And so here are some pictures of me testing out the Xf10 and the X100. All of the video that you're going to see in today's episode, all of the B-roll was shot with the Xf10. That was my first night using it. So with no further ado, here is the first segment from Chinatown. Okay, so after I shot there for a little bit, I literally was there for like maybe 15-20 minutes. I walked around and I really wasn't feeling it. There weren't a lot of people. I found the architecture very beautiful, and I found like kind of the vibe of the place very beautiful. But I was yearning to take pictures of people and to be somewhere where there was a little bit more atmosphere, or more like a lively feel. So I went to Hollywood and Highland. This is a place that I go to quite a bit, or I did at least before the pandemic hit. And so I went there, and I thought that that would be a perfect place. That night there was an MMA fight. I don't even know who was fighting at the time. But there were a lot of people out on the street, and I just kind of walked around, took pictures of you know, whatever caught my eye. And anyway, so here is the clip from that. Okay, so at this point I had been walking around a little bit, and my parking meter was about to expire, so I went back to my car. Earlier that day, I had looked at events on Facebook. So one of the things that I do whenever I want to take pictures and go out is I will open up my Facebook app and I will look under events, and I check to see what events will be taking place that week or that weekend or even that same night. And one of the events that I had seen was that LACMA, which is a museum in Los Angeles that is very well known. It's like a landmark. Everybody takes pictures in this one section where they have these light posts. And so LACMA was having like a vintage type event where they would play like vintage music, and it had a French theme. And then I thought, now that I've taken pictures here in Hollywood, maybe I can just go to LACMA and go inside this event and maybe take some pictures. But when I got there, the event was over. I was definitely not dressed for this event. I didn't expect for people to be that dressed up. So I got there and immediately I noticed that the people that were coming out of this event, they really honored the theme of the night, and I found it quite interesting. People were taking pictures of each other, and I thought to myself that, you know, that could be a really great opportunity for me to practice approaching strangers and asking them for portraits. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I always struggle with it. I'm always shy when I do it. But I did it on this specific evening. It felt creepy taking pictures of people without them seeing me. And so I just started walking up to people, and there were a couple of couples who I approached, and I took pictures of them with their camera, and then I took some pictures with mine. So I would walk up to them and I would say, listen, I was wondering if I could make a portrait of you. If you'd like, I can take some pictures with your phone or with your camera, and then I'll take one or two with mine. And everybody was very, very nice. The first couple that I photographed, they were dressed amazingly well. I really loved their outfit, and I loved the black and white versions of this. And then when I did it in color, I also loved the color version. One thing to note about this first couple is that when I first shot them, I shot them with the lights behind them, backlit with the X100. And I wasn't really crazy about the look of this photograph. And then I asked them if it was okay if we could move into the section that's lit by the pillars and the light post, and you know, they were nice enough to walk over to that side, and then they stood there, and then I made these two photographs, and I felt like the light was much better. After that, I walked around a little bit, and I saw this this young couple, and I don't know, I thought they looked so awesome. I specifically liked his expression, and they just had really great energy. So I walked up to them, asked them if I could make a portrait of them, and they were kind enough to say yes. Last but not least, I approached this lady. She was there with her friends, it looks like, and I don't know, she was just she had a very light energy about her, the way that she was being playful, and just a very good energy. And I remember that day I did not have very good energy. I was quite down, and so I approached her, asked her if I could make some portraits of her, and I waited for a little bit for her to finish taking pictures with her friends. And after a couple of minutes, I was just kind of hanging out, which felt a little awkward for me, but she was kind enough to come and get me and say, okay, I'm ready. And so I made a couple of portraits of her. Two of the pictures that you're gonna see were shot with the Xf10, and one was shot with the X100. At this point, I had been shooting with the X100 for, I don't know, about maybe 6 months, but not really a lot of street portraits. I fumbled a little bit with my settings. The Xf10, it was my first night shooting with it, period, and shooting a portrait with a 28mm lens. And I did feel the insecure photographer within me, you know, trying to creep in. And then I just had to remind myself that I've done plenty of portraits in the past. This was no different. And the same thing, I asked her if she could move in just a little bit behind the light post so that the light could hit her face. And I was able to get these 3 shots. This first shot that you're seeing, this is with the Xf10. You can see that it's quite a wide shot. I wanted to capture her entire personality and her entire outfit. It looked like she put a lot of time into it, and I wanted to capture the whole thing. And then what I did is I got a little bit closer with the Xf10. Because it's a 28mm, I went for an environmental type of portrait. And this is what I was able to get. I have to say that I was really pleased with the way that the Xf10 captures colors in low light. And yeah, so anyway, these were the first 2 shots. And then I took out the X100 and I was able to make this portrait. The portraits that I've shared with you so far, these were all edited using the same system or the same method that I showed in my black and white tutorial. So if you haven't seen the black and white tutorial, I'm sure up here somewhere the link is showing. Feel free to check that out, but I basically just did a curve adjustment, and then that pretty much took care of the light and the contrast, and it brought the colors out of the sensor. And then after that, I just added a little bit of greens to the shadows, like a tiny bit, just to contrast her orange clothes, as well as the rest of the other portraits that you've seen so far. And that's it for today. I hope that you got something out of today's episode, and I hope that you're all doing well. Have an amazing week or weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.
Many more come on, many more under the sun. Pack your finest suit, and we will keep it steady. We will be the confetti.